For the first time in human history, machines are making life or death decisions on the battlefield. No hesitation, no fear, no conscience. This is the rise of the AI war machine, a silent revolution reshaping global power. And humanity is not prepared. For centuries, the grammar of conflict was written in steel and blood. Nations fought with soldiers, with tanks, and with aircraft. It was a history defined by physical force, by the courage and sacrifice of human beings on the front lines. The battlefield was a tangible space, a hill to be taken, a city to be defended. Victory was measured in territory gained, in flags planted on foreign soil. But this traditional model of warfare, for all its destructive power, was always constrained by a fundamental limit: the speed of human thought and the fragility of the human body. Commanders pored over paper maps, their decisions clouded by the fog of war, the inherent uncertainty and incomplete information that has plagued military leaders since the dawn of time. Communication was slow, logistics were a monumental challenge, and the entire machinery of war moved at a human pace. Today, that entire paradigm is being overwritten. The new wars are not just fought on land, at sea, or in the air. They are fought in the invisible, instantaneous realm of data. They are fought with algorithms. This is the era of computational warfare, where the primary weapon is no longer the bullet, but the line of code. The battlefield is now a network, and the soldiers are silent, autonomous systems executing commands at the speed of light. The core principles of conflict, deception, speed, overwhelming force, remain the same. But the tools are unimaginably different. We have entered a new domain of conflict, one that is less about physical destruction and more about informational dominance, about crippling an adversary's ability to see, to communicate, and to decide. In this new landscape, the victor is not necessarily the one with the largest army, but the one with the superior algorithm. At the heart of this revolution is a technology that is reshaping our world: artificial intelligence. AI is now the central nervous system of modern warfare. It is the unseen intelligence that connects every sensor, every weapon, and every soldier into a single, cohesive fighting force. Think of it as a vast, distributed brain. It ingests a torrent of information from a million different sources: satellite imagery, drone surveillance feeds, electronic signals, social media chatter, and on-the-ground sensors. It processes this data on a scale no human team could ever hope to match, searching for patterns, identifying anomalies, and building a comprehensive, godlike view of the battle space. This AI-driven system doesn't just see the battlefield as it is, it models the battlefield as it could be, running thousands of simulations per second to predict enemy movements and forecast outcomes. It is the ultimate intelligence-gathering machine, turning the chaos of war into a predictable, manageable system of probabilities and data points. This is not science fiction. It is the new reality of global power competition. From the United States to China, from Israel to Russia, and across the European Union, a silent and frantic arms race is underway. Militaries around the world are pouring billions of dollars into the development and deployment of autonomous systems. The strategic calculus is simple and brutal. To fall behind in the AI race is to risk becoming indefensible. The fear is that a competitor will achieve a decisive technological advantage, creating a gap that is impossible to close. This drives a relentless cycle of innovation and investment, pushing the boundaries of what machines are capable of, often with little public debate or oversight. The race is on not just to build these systems, but to integrate them, to trust them, and to cede ever more control to their automated logic. The ultimate goal of this arms race is the creation of lethal autonomous weapon systems, or laws. These are machines capable of identifying enemies, predicting attacks, and neutralizing targets, all without a human in the loop. This means the machine itself would make the final, irreversible decision to use lethal force. The process is chillingly logical. An AI is trained on vast data sets of what constitutes a threat, a specific type of tank, a certain model of aircraft, a particular electronic signature. In the field, its sensors gather data, compare it to its training, and calculate the probability that an object is a legitimate target. If that probability crosses a predefined threshold, the system is authorized to engage. The human role is relegated to setting the initial rules of engagement, but the critical, time-sensitive decision to kill is outsourced to the machine. This leap represents a fundamental shift in the nature of warfare and a moral boundary we are on the verge of crossing. The future of war arrived faster than anyone expected. It arrived on the back of commercial technological breakthroughs, outpacing the slow, deliberate processes of diplomacy and international law. And so, it has arrived without global regulation. While nations race to build these weapons, the international community has failed to agree on any meaningful constraints. There are no treaties, no binding agreements, no universally accepted red lines. We are stumbling into this new era, armed with godlike technology, but without the wisdom to control it. Every nation fears being the only one to pause, the only one to show restraint, while its adversaries surge ahead. The result is a world teetering on the edge of a new kind of conflict, one that could be fought at a speed and scale that defies human comprehension and control. The machines are ready. The question is, are we? The revolution did not begin on a battlefield. It began quietly, in the hushed, sterile environments of top-secret research labs, far from public view and scrutiny. For decades, the concept of artificial intelligence in warfare was the domain of theorists and science fiction. Early military AI, born from the anxieties of the Cold War, was rudimentary. These were expert systems, digital assistants programmed with rigid, rule-based logic. If a sensor detected X, the system would suggest Y. They were predictable, brittle, and utterly reliant on human programmers to anticipate every possible scenario. They could follow orders, but they could not learn. This was the era of AI as a simple tool, an extension of human capability, not a replacement for it. The core philosophy was clear. Technology served the soldier. It did not supplant them. For decades, this paradigm held firm. Militaries used AI exclusively to assist human decisions, a concept known as human in the loop. The machine could analyze, sort, and suggest, but the final critical decision, especially the decision to use lethal force, remained firmly in human hands. Systems like the Navy's Aegis combat system could track hundreds of potential threats simultaneously, prioritizing them for human commanders. In the air, targeting pods used rudimentary algorithms to help pilots identify and lock onto ground targets. On the ground, AI managed complex logistics, predicting supply needs and optimizing delivery routes. In every case, the AI was a co-pilot, an analyst, a hyper-efficient clerk. It provided information, but the judgment, the intuition, and the ultimate moral responsibility rested with a person. This was the accepted and comfortable state of affairs. The machine was a powerful tool, but it was still just a tool. But around the year 2015, something fundamental changed. It wasn't a single invention, but a powerful convergence of three forces: the explosion of digital data, the availability of immense computing power, and a revolutionary breakthrough in algorithms. This was the dawn of modern machine learning. Unlike the old expert systems, these new algorithms weren't explicitly programmed for every task. Instead, they were designed to learn from vast data sets, identifying patterns, making connections, and improving their own performance over time. They could learn what a tank looked like by analyzing millions of images, not by being fed a checklist of its features. This shift from programming to training was the critical leap. It unlocked a potential that military planners had only dreamed of, and it set the stage for a profound transformation in the nature of war itself. Suddenly, machine learning became powerful enough to analyze more data than any soldier, any general, or any team of human analysts could ever hope to imagine. In a single second, an AI could sift through terabytes of information: live satellite imagery, drone surveillance feeds, signals intelligence, social media chatter, and historical data. It could see the entire battle space not as a series of isolated events, but as a single, interconnected, dynamic system. It could detect the faintest signals in the noise, the subtle change in a vehicle's heat signature, the unusual pattern of communication, the slight deviation in an enemy's patrol route. For a human, this ocean of data was overwhelming, a source of fog and confusion. For the new machine decision-making algorithms, it was the source of unparalleled clarity. The first true glimpse of this new power came in simulations. In classified war games and digital sandboxes, military strategists pitted their best human commanders against these nascent AI strategists. The results were staggering and deeply unsettling. In simulation after simulation, the AI consistently and decisively outperformed its human counterparts. While human commanders wrestled with stress, incomplete information, and cognitive biases, the AI operated with cold mathematical precision. It managed vast formations of simulated units with a level of micromanagement no human could ever achieve, coordinating air, land, and sea assets in perfect synchronized harmony. The age-old friction of war, the chaos and uncertainty described by Clausewitz, seemed to melt away in the face of pure computational logic. The AI was reacting faster, predicting danger earlier, and making tactical decisions that no human would think of. It could process probabilities at lightning speed, calculating the likely outcome of thousands of different moves simultaneously. It could predict an ambush not just from obvious signs, but from a subtle confluence of seemingly unrelated data points gathered moments before. It would devise strategies that seemed bizarre, even counterintuitive to human observers, sacrificing high-value assets in a feint, or routing forces through terrain considered impassable, only to achieve a stunning and decisive victory. The machine was not just playing the game better, it was changing the rules of the game itself. It was demonstrating a new kind of military genius, one born from silicon and data. For the generals and policymakers watching these results, the conclusion became as clear as it was inevitable. In the high-speed, data-saturated environment of modern warfare, in many situations, machines are simply better than humans. A human pilot has a reaction time measured in tenths of a second. An AI's is measured in microseconds. A human commander can track a handful of active threats. An AI can track thousands. A human is susceptible to fear, fatigue, and emotion. An AI is not. The long-held belief in the supremacy of human intuition on the battlefield was now facing a direct challenge from the raw power of computation. The question was no longer machines would take on a greater role in combat, but, and how soon? The quiet revolution was over. A new arms race had begun. Autonomous weapons are not prototypes. They are already operating on real battlefields. A drone capable of hunting targets using facial recognition, without human approval. Armed autonomous turrets along the border, programmed to detect and eliminate intruders. Weapons that track heat, sound, and patterns impossible to detect by humans. Combat robots able to patrol, aim, and fire. The age of robots fighting alongside and replacing soldiers has already begun. How does a machine decide? Not in the human sense of weighing conscience and consequence, but in the cold, hard language of mathematics and probability. How does an algorithm, a string of code, arrive at a decision that can mean the difference between life and death? To understand the future of war, we must first understand the mind of the machine. The process begins not on the battlefield, but in vast, sterile data centers. Here, the raw material of machine decision-making is gathered, sorted, and prepared. This is the foundation upon which the entire system is built. The AI is fed a diet of pure information, on a scale no human could ever process. Millions of satellite images, captured over decades, showing every conceivable landscape in every season. Thousands of hours of battlefield footage from drones and helmet cameras, documenting real-world engagements. It ingests patterns of movement, the unique heat signatures of vehicles versus living beings, the acoustic frequencies of engines, weapons, and human speech. This colossal dataset is the AI's entire world, its only frame of reference. It knows nothing of the world beyond what it is shown. From this data, the AI learns to recognize threats, much like a child learns to identify objects, through repetition and correction. This is the process of machine learning. Human analysts meticulously label millions of data points. This image is a T-72 tank. This one is a civilian pickup truck. This sound is a friendly helicopter. This heat signature is a non-combatant. Each labeled example is a lesson. The AI processes the lesson, adjusts its internal parameters, a complex web of millions of digital neurons, and tries again. With each cycle, it refines its model of the world, getting progressively better at sorting objects into categories. It is a process of trial and error on a massive scale, a relentless optimization towards a single goal: accurate classification. But here is the fundamental, dangerous disconnect. The AI doesn't understand what a tank. It doesn't know it carries soldiers, that it represents a nation's military power, or the devastation its cannon can unleash. It only knows that a specific collection of pixels, shapes, and thermal data corresponds to the label tank with a high degree of statistical probability. It doesn't understand morality. It has no concept of honor, restraint, or mercy. These are not data points it can compute. And most critically, it doesn't understand context. A human soldier sees a school bus near a conflict zone and understands the immense tragedy that a mistake would represent. The AI sees a large, box-shaped vehicle with multiple warm objects inside, a pattern that might share characteristics with a troop transport. It calculates a confidence score, a percentage telling its commanders how sure it is about its classification. Is it 70% sure it's a civilian bus, or is it 30% sure it's a military transport? The decision to engage might hang on that percentage. The AI only follows the patterns it has been taught. It is a powerful, but brittle, form of logic. In a perfect scenario, with perfect data, the system works flawlessly. The pattern is clear, the confidence is high, the classification is correct. The machine makes the right decision at superhuman speed. This is the promise of autonomous weapons: efficiency, precision, and the removal of human soldiers from harm's way. But the battlefield is never perfect. It is a chaotic, unpredictable environment, filled with what developers call edge cases, scenarios the AI was never trained for. If the pattern is wrong, the decision is wrong. A farm tractor covered in a tarp might, to the algorithm, resemble a camouflaged armored vehicle. A group of refugees carrying their belongings might create a thermal signature similar to a platoon of soldiers. The AI has no life experience to tell it otherwise. It cannot ask questions. It cannot infer intent. It can only match the messy reality of the world to its rigid, pre-programmed library of patterns. And in this new form of algorithmic warfare, a single misclassification, a single flawed pattern, can have catastrophic consequences. One wrong decision, made in a microsecond by a machine that cannot comprehend its own error, can irrevocably end a human life. This is the gamble the world is now taking, betting that the cold logic of the machine will be better than the flawed judgment of man. It is a bet whose outcome is far from certain. There are documented cases where autonomous systems acted unpredictably. Experts warn, drones have attacked the wrong targets. Systems have ignored human commands. And military AI has entered a loop of attack. When machines operate faster than humans can react, one small error can escalate into a large conflict. The world is now in a silent arms race. Each nation believes the same thing. If they don't build autonomous weapons, someone else will build them first. This fear pushes development forward, faster and without limits. Imagine a fully autonomous drone swarm detecting a potential threat on its patrol, and based on its programming, deciding it is hostile, launching a coordinated attack instantly, before any human operator even sees the alert. When machines operate at machine speed, the human in the loop becomes the slowest link. Wars may soon be fought by drone swarms, autonomous tanks, underwater AI vehicles, killer satellites, cyber AI systems capable of shutting down entire nations. Some scientists warn that the first AI-triggered war is inevitable. Others believe AI will prevent wars by predicting them. Humanity stands at a crossroads. The AI war machine has already awakened. Machines are taking control of the battlefield. The question now is simple and urgent. Will AI protect humanity, or will we lose control forever?